You folks, you ever get lost down those YouTube rabbit holes? You know, you start watching a video about making sourdough bread, and 3 hours later, you're watching a documentary about the mating habits of deep-sea anglerfish? It happens to the best of us. Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a rabbit hole so deep, so strange, you're gonna need a flashlight and a helmet. We're talking about real-life spy gadgets. Yeah, you've heard of James Bond, you've seen the movies, the exploding pens, the car that turns into a submarine, cool stuff, right? But the real world? It's way weirder. We're talking spy agencies training dolphins, using radioactive glitter to track people, building robotic insects to eavesdrop on conversations. And yes, someone was actually assassinated with an umbrella. This isn't some Hollywood script. This is the real deal. The CIA, the KGB, MI6, they've all got their secrets. And today, we're cracking open the vault and taking a look at the strangest spy tech that ever existed. Let's do this. Alright, so picture this, it's the 1970s, the Cold War is in full swing, the CIA is looking for any edge they can get over the Soviets. And someone gets this brilliant, totally insane idea. Let's build a robotic dragonfly. I'm not kidding, they called it the Insectothopter. It was this tiny little thing, just a little over 2 inches long. And it looked exactly like a dragonfly. I mean exactly, they put a micro gas engine in it, a delicate little control system, and a hidden microphone. The goal? Fly that bad boy right up to a window, have it perch there unnoticed, and listen to everything going on inside. Can you imagine? You're having a top-secret meeting, and a freaking dragonfly is sitting on the windowsill, listening in on your every word. It's like something out of a David Cronenberg movie. And the crazy part is, they actually got it to fly. The team at the CIA's Office of Research and Development, these guys were geniuses. They actually got this thing to hover and glide. The problem was, it was about as stable as a drunk hummingbird in a hurricane. The slightest breeze, and this thing would go spiraling out of control. Not exactly ideal for a covert surveillance operation. So, the Insectothopter, it never actually made it out of the testing phase. Too bad, it would have been hilarious to see the look on someone's face when they realized they were being bugged by a dragonfly. But hey, it proved one thing, the CIA was absolutely serious about bugging you, with actual bugs. Okay, forget sharks with lasers. I'm serious. Real-life spy dolphins, you heard me right. Dolphins, with security clearances. This isn't some Disney movie, this is the US Navy. They've had this program since the 1960s, the Marine Mammal Program. They train bottlenose dolphins and sea lions. These animals are wicked smart, and they can do things in the water that would make a Navy SEAL jealous. So what do they train them to do? Find underwater mines, locate lost equipment, and get this, identify intruders. That's right, these dolphins are basically underwater guard dogs. Some of them were even trained to, get this, bump enemy divers with these nose-mounted marking devices. You know, so the Navy could come along later and take care of business. And here's the kicker. This program, it's still going on today. Dolphins, well, they have this incredible sonar. They can outswim any human diver, no problem. They can navigate in complete darkness in murky water, no problem. And during the Cold War, both the US and the Soviet Union had these military dolphin programs. There were even rumors of dolphin defections. Can you imagine? Defecting dolphin seeks asylum, loves jazz and underwater demolition. I'm not making this up. Spy dolphin, actual job title. Some of them were paid in fish. Some of them probably had better security clearance than half the humans working on the base. Crazy, right? Alright, so you know how annoying it is when you get glitter on something? It's like it's impossible to get rid of, right? Well, imagine if that glitter was radioactive, and it was put there by the KGB. Yeah, not so fun anymore, is it? During the Cold War, the KGB, those folks were always up to something. They used this radioactive powder called NTC. They called it spy dust, and they used it to track people. Mostly American diplomats. They'd sprinkle this stuff on doorknobs, clothes, shoes, you name it. And then they'd use these special sensors to track their targets' movements all over Moscow. Basically, these folks were leaving a glowing trail of radioactive glitter wherever they went. The US only discovered this whole thing in the 1970s when diplomats kept setting off Geiger counters. Talk about a way to ruin your day, right? You go for a walk, come home, and suddenly your pants are setting off radiation alarms. It was creepy and dangerous. Imagine the long-term health effects of being dusted with radioactive material. They eventually stopped using it, but not before a bunch of agents basically turned half of Moscow into a radioactive disco floor. Alright, so this one's straight out of a spy thriller, but I swear it's real. 1978 London. This Bulgarian writer Georgy Markov is waiting for a bus. Totally normal day, right? Suddenly this guy bumps into him. Markov feels a sharp pain in his leg, thinks it's a bee sting or something. The guy disappears into the crowd. 3 days later, Markov is dead. Dead. Turns out that wasn't a bee sting. It was a tiny pellet of ricin injected into his leg through the tip of... wait for it. An umbrella. I'm not making this up. The KGB had developed this custom-made umbrella gun. It fired a compressed air shot, so quiet you wouldn't even know you'd been hit. And it was loaded with this deadly poison. To this day, it's one of the most famous real-world assassinations using a spy gadget. An umbrella. And it worked. It's terrifying. You're walking down the street, someone bumps into you with an umbrella, and that's it. You're done. It's a reminder that the world of espionage, it's not all fun and games with exploding pens and jetpacks. Sometimes it gets real dark, real fast. Alright, you ever find a cool coin? Like an old silver dollar or something? You're all excited, thinking you might have stumbled onto a collector's item. Well, during the Cold War, finding a weird coin could mean you'd stumbled onto a CIA operation. I'm serious. The CIA, they had these hollow coins. They looked like regular coins, nickels, quarters, rubles, you name it, but they'd pop open with the right kind of pressure. And inside, tiny little rolls of microfilm, microdots, coded messages, all kinds of spy stuff. They'd use these coins for all sorts of things. Spy drops, dead drops, passing messages between agents in public. You could basically hand someone a quarter, and they'd have no idea it contained top-secret information. Genius, right? Well, almost. One time, an American agent dropped one of these coins by accident, and guess who found it? Some kid delivering newspapers. The kid, being a curious kid, opens the coin, finds this weird microfilm capsule inside, tells his parents, freaking out, call the police. The police, having no idea what they're dealing with, call the press, and just like that, this one little coin almost blew up an entire CIA operation, all because someone forgot to check their pockets. Oops. Alright, this last one is gonna sound like I'm making it up, but I swear, it's real, and it's probably the weirdest thing we're gonna talk about today. In the 1970s, the CIA, those folks never sleep, they launched this project called Project Stargate, and the goal? To train psychic spies. I'm not kidding. They were seriously trying to weaponize ESP. They called it remote viewing. Basically, they'd sit these guys in a room, tell them to clear their minds, and then try to get them to see things happening in other places. Like enemy military bases, nuclear weapons, even kidnapped hostages. And they spent millions of dollars on this. They even brought in psychics, mediums, you name it. They were all in. Now, did it work? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Sometimes they'd get things right, spookily right, but most of the time, not so much. But here's the thing, the government took it seriously. For over 20 years, this program went on. They even used it to try to find missing people, track down terrorists, all kinds of stuff. They finally shut it down in 1995. But to this day, some of the reports from Project Stargate are still classified, which makes you wonder, did they actually find something? Did they actually tap into something real? Or did the CIA just spend millions of dollars paying psychics to draw pictures of what they thought a Russian tank looked like? So yeah, there you have it, the world of spy gadgets. It's not all Aston Martins and laser watches, sometimes it's robotic dragonflies, psychic spies, and radioactive glitter. These folks, they weren't messing around, they built dragonflies for crying out loud. They trained dolphins to be cold warriors, they tracked people with radioactive dust, and they tried to read minds. This isn't some comic book. This is real-world history. And now, you'll never unknow it. You're welcome.